Hello everyone, and welcome back to It's Tech Time. In today's video, we will be going through how to install Fedora 42 on a workstation, and this will be the only operating system on this workstation. And so that means this will be a full install tutorial, and you will see the whole process every step of the way. And the reason behind this video is because Fedora 42 uses a whole new installer, so you're going to get to see it firsthand here today. Hello there. If you're trying to level up your IT skills, or you're just tired of copy and pasting Linux commands without really knowing what they do, then I have written the book for you. The Linux Mastery Blueprint is a hands-on guide that takes you from beginner to confident Linux pro. In this book, you'll learn how to troubleshoot real servers, automate tasks with Bash, secure systems, and even deploy to the cloud. It is packed with real-world examples and some command line labs, which will help you create a final project you can actually show off to employers as you are job seeking. If you are serious about mastering Linux, then this roadmap is for you. You can help support this channel and get your copy today using the link in the video description. Now back to our video. So before we begin, let's talk about what we actually need to do to get started with this process. The first thing that I recommend you do is create a backup of all your files. And this is because the process of installing a new operating system will wipe out everything that is currently on your hard drive. Don't worry though, I will let you know in the video before we get to that point of no return, as you would. Now this should go without saying, but It's Tech Time is not responsible for any files that you may accidentally delete during this process. So just to be safe, go get you a drive, make a complete backup of everything you have in your machine before doing this process on your own machine. Or better yet, a lot of these steps can be applied to a virtual machine, and I'll link to some old videos where I have done that for previous Linux versions before. You should see that card somewhere around here. Now typically installing a new operating system has 3 phases to it. The first phase is you're going to go and create the actual installation media. In our case, we're going to make a dedicated USB, and I'll show you how to do that in Fedora itself. Then we would test the actual compatibility of Fedora in the machine that we are imaging before we go through the installation process. And then we will go through the actual installing process itself for Fedora Workstation. Now I'll be showing you how to create a dedicated USB using a free program called Fedora Media Writer, and I will put a link to it down below in the video description for you. Now I'm going to install Fedora Media Writer by first going to my app store and searching for it. I already have it installed, but here you would click install. But in my case, I'm going to go and I'm going to click and open it. I'm going to select download automatically, click next, keep it at official editions, Fedora Workstation. As you can see, there's some other options here, but we're going to do Fedora Workstation. We're going to click next, and then mine auto detected the USB I was using, and so I'm going to click download/write. It's going to confirm that you want to download it to the USB because it will erase anything you have on the USB. In my situation, I know for sure that this USB has nothing on it, so I'm going to click download and write, and it's going to ask for my password, and this may take a second, so I'm going to pause the video. Just finished downloading and creating my bootable USB with Fedora Workstation 42 on it, so I'm going to click finish. I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to unplug my USB from this computer and plug it into an old Dell Optiplex 3010 that a neighbor of mine was going to throw away, and I decided to claim it for this project. And after you've booted to USB, you should see a screen similar to mine where you have the option to install Fedora or not now. And what we have here is a live Fedora desktop that is running off of a flash drive. We haven't installed anything yet, but we are in fact using Fedora desktop. So we can go up here to the application overview, and we go to our files, and then we can use this as we would any other operating system because this is a full operating system running off of the flash drive. And this is really convenient because not only can we use it to diagnose or troubleshoot hardware, but we can also use this to test how Fedora will act on this hardware before we actually install it. Now the first thing you're going to want to do, in my opinion, is if this is a machine with a Wi-Fi driver in it, you want to look up here and make sure that you're actually connecting to Wi-Fi. Now in my situation, this machine is not capable of Wi-Fi, so I just have the wired connection. But once it shows you being connected to a network, you want to come over here to the application overview and open a web browser and click around and open things and make sure the internet is actually working. And it looks like I'm actually able to browse the internet. And while I'm here, another thing you want to check on is to make sure that the audio drivers are actually working. And you can do that simply by clicking on any of these videos and playing them. And if you get sound back, you'll know that it's working. And I do have sound on my end, so I know that my audio drivers are working on this machine. The next thing I highly suggest you check is if you have a second monitor or a USB connected printer or scanner, is that you come into your settings and see if they're actually being picked up. For example, if you had another monitor, you want to look in here and make sure it's actually showing on our displays. In my case, there's not a second monitor. And I'm going to scroll down here to printers. And it's not picking up any printer, which in my case, I don't have a secondary printer, so that's to be expected. But if you do have a printer connected or a scanner connected or a second monitor, you want to come here and make sure that they're actually working before you install Fedora. But once you're sure that everything's working on your machine, you can close this and restart the installer by going to the application overview and then clicking the installer here in the menu. And if you're used to older versions of Fedora, this installer is going to look very different. Like I said earlier in the video, Fedora 42 Workstation Edition has a brand new installer interface, and we're going to walk through it today. And the first thing we're going to do is choose our language. Mine defaulted to English, which is fine in my case, but if you're using something different, you can search for it here, or you can scroll up and down to find it. But mine is currently correct, so I'm going to hit next. Now, depending on the hardware you're using, you may have an option to share this disk, which is equivalent of setting up a dual boot system. For example, you may have part of the disk being Windows and another part of the disk being Fedora. But on my machine, I'm going to use the entire disk because this machine is just going to have the Fedora operating system. So in my case, I'll leave it where it is, which is the default. I'm going to click next. This will use the entire drive on this machine, which means it will erase everything. So keep that in mind. Everything will be erased. Now you have the option to encrypt your data, which is handy. So if you ever lose your machine, nobody will be able to get any information off of it because it'll be encrypted. So if you choose to encrypt it, you're going to be asked to enter a passphrase. I'm going to encrypt mine, so I'm going to go ahead and type in my passphrase. And if you don't want to encrypt it, you just simply uncheck that box and then click next. And then it's going to review everything you've selected one more time before erasing the disk. So this is in fact the point of no return here. Once you hit erase data and install, it will erase everything on that machine. And I'm fine with that in my case. If you're not, you need to quit now and go back and back up anything, go ahead. But I'm going to erase data and install. And so Fedora is actually installing on my drive here, and this will show me at what step in the process it's in. So you could kind of watch it, but this tends to take a little while, so I'm going to pause the video here. And congratulations, you have successfully installed Fedora 42 Workstation on your machine. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click Exit to Live Desktop. Then we're going to click up here, hit the power, and we're going to restart the machine. Now because I chose to encrypt my hard drive before it will boot back up, I need to put in this password, hit enter, and here we are. When you first reboot your computer after installing Fedora, you're going to be met by a welcome screen like this. Now, I'm not sure why the font is so small right now, but it's going to ask you to choose your language. Of course, we chose it during the install process, so we'll click next. And it's going to ask you to choose your keyboard if you didn't choose it during the installation process, but we did, so we're going to click next. And then it's going to have some privacy settings, and you can turn these on or off however you personally like to do it. I'm going to leave these on in my situation, and I'm going to click next. Then once you choose your time zone, and what you can do is you can just click close enough on the map if you want to, or you can come up here and actually search for it. And I'm up close to Chicago, so I'm going to choose Chicago, and I'm going to click next. Now, I highly recommend that you enable third-party repositories. That way it increases the chances of compatible drivers for your machine. So click to enable that, I'm going to click next. Then it wants me to set up a profile for me. I'm going to give myself a name and a username. Click next, and a super secret password, and click next. And that's it for the initial setup. So we'll click to start using Fedora, and we'll be taking it back to the desktop. Now, new versions, you'll be met by this walkthrough if you want to take it to get familiar with it, but I'm going to skip it for now. And I'm going to fix the scale on my machine a little bit, but here we are. We have a fully installed Fedora Workstation ready to go. So first, what I'm going to do is come up here and turn dark style on because that brightness is too bad for my eyes. And I'm going to go to Application Overview, and I'm going to open the Software app so that I can do two things first. One, this is a brand new installation of Fedora. If you see any updates, you want to go ahead and install these updates, but I'm probably going to wipe this and put something else on it after I'm finished with this. So I'm going to go over to the Explore tab, and here you can search for different apps for your computer, and you can either go by category or you can search specifically for that app. And I'm going to search for Spotify. Then I'm going to click it, and I'm going to choose Install. And we just finished installing our first app on our new installation of Fedora Desktop. And we can open it here, or we can close and go to the app overview, and we can search for it, Spotify, and click to open it here. And I'm not going to log into my Spotify account, but I wanted to give you an example of installing a new app onto a Fedora desktop. So thank you for joining me in today's video. I hope you found that easy. To me, Fedora is a really easy operating system to install. Now, like I said, the Fedora 42 Workstation installer is completely different than the previous Fedora installers. So if you're used to the previous ones, this new one here, you may want to watch me go through this video first before you start using it. Again, thank you for joining me. If you got any value whatsoever out of this video, please hit the like button and share it. That really helps this channel grow. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, hit that subscribe button so that you will be notified whenever new videos are released. and I will see you in the next video.